now that it's 2022, the 60th anniversary of when Kmart opened its first ground-up store in Garden City, Michigan, I want to give some history here about the last Kmart that was left in Marshall, Michigan. And here is their original location that opened October 8th, 1981, and it's a Group 9 store. You can see it has a little bit of design similar to the Hamilton, Montana store. And then on November 15th, 1990, it moved here to this Series 36 building. And it has a shape that many people mistake for Walmart, but it's actually a Series 36, built in the late 80s, early 90s. And it had its grand opening on November 18th, 1990, 3 days after it opened. And it was just 2 months after Kmart changed their logo to the block K with the cursive Mart inside it. You can see the label scarring up here. And then on October 23rd, 1998, it was renovated and reopened as a Big Kmart. And also here's the Little Caesars label scarring up here. And this was one of 8 test locations for Little Caesars inside of a Kmart. And it actually had the restaurant that went nationwide. But this was an original test location for Little Caesars. And here's some label scarring for where the Western Union was. So over here was the garden shop. And around the corner over here, the actual garden shop itself. You can see some more label scarring. See on the inside. Here's the prison yard. And so this is it. This is the final Kmart I'll ever visit. And the reason I love Kmart so much is it goes back actually to the 1970s when I was born. And then in the 1980s when I was a kid growing up, there was that Kmart that was in Nova Plaza, which also had that cinema, that Radio Shack, and that National Supermarket. And of course Kmart was the main store for town in Cahokia. So that was the store I went to for pretty much everything. Went there for clothes, toys, just about everything you'd go to with a department store. And so then in 1991, Kmart not only changed their logo to that block K with the cursive Mart inside it, but they also changed the way it looked inside. They added the taller shelves, they added the different merchandise, and that actually turned me off. And then when I got not so great service at Kmart compared to Walmart, who actually, believe it or not, gave me really good service in the early 90s, because there was one time when we went there for some film developing and Walmart actually lost the negatives. When I complained about it, the manager actually sent me a letter with a replacement roll of film. And that was actually, believe it or not, Walmart. So their customer service in the early 90s was actually better than that of Kmart. So that kind of pretty much pulled me away from Kmart. Then in 1998, when I was living in Springfield, I visited one of those renovated Big Kmarts because it was just on a nostalgia trip that I wanted to go there because I hadn't gone there really since the early 90s. And when I went inside and I saw the music and video section and how it was essentially a Best Buy or Circuit City, for those who can remember Circuit City, and I was impressed. That thing had pretty much everything I was looking for. And you add that pantry to it on top of it where you could get groceries then, and it immediately made me fall in love with Kmart. So then, in about 2014, 2015, when Kmart decided to phase out their video games, I then thought my trips to Kmart were over. Then in 2017, I realized, after looking at some old clothing I had from the 90s, how they were basic editions in Route 66, I realized I still could go to Kmart for clothing and other stuff, not just video games. So I went there and fell back in love with Kmart, if you will, just in time for them to pull out of the St. Louis region. And so for the last couple of years after that, I've been making it my mission to try to go to Kmart as much as I can and stock up on their merchandise as much as possible. Here's receiving for their Series 36 building. Here's the plaza, because they connected their original Series 36 over with their Group 9 store over there. But this is it. My final time going to a Kmart, located in Marshall, Michigan. So Kmart turns 60 this year, but unfortunately this store will not see it. So that's it. Goodbye, Kmart. Thanks for the memories. And thank you to all the employees that made this such a wonderful place to visit.